All right, so I believe that we're live and we're feeding out to the people. John, if you guys are joining us here, we're gonna be going live talking about the raid by the ATF of the Polymer80 um, locations, which it's in Nevada, right, John?
Yes, it is in Nevada. It's near Henderson, I believe.
Yes. Okay, so I'm live here with John Crump of AmmolandNews, and usually we do these we record these and then I post it up. But since this is like breaking news, I just got into the studio. Um, John, you've been doing a lot of work on the ATF. You've been doing a lot of FOIA requests, and you've gotten a lot of leaked information and all that kind of stuff. So lots of work's been done by John of AmmolandNews here. So I figured the best thing for us to do, go live with everyone and just have like a live raw conversation about this. It's just, when did this raid happen, John?
Yesterday.
Yesterday. So last night or during the day
Sometime
yesterday?
yesterday. I'm not exactly sure the exact time.
Okay, so we'll figure all that out. So we're getting set up here right now. What I would like everyone to do is, you guys are coming in, help us out here with this and smash the thumbs ups. Okay, that just helps the discovery. You can also share this, with your friends and stuff like that. Let people know that we are live. We will take questions from the folks out there. I'm sure there's going to be several questions on this. So we'll take questions until you guys are satisfied here. We'll get all that done. So help us out, first of all, by smashing those thumbs ups and sharing this if you can. All right, so first thing I want to
They're outside.
do. Go ahead, John.
They're outside. Uh, Brandon Bloom is right there. They are outside Carson and Dayton, Nevada.
Yeah, I've been to that area before. I think the last time I saw the Polymer80 guys, I was in that area doing stuff with the guys from Franklin Armory. So they're kind of like in the same hood, so to speak. All right, so let's do this. Let's throw up. Now the Wall Street Journal beat you to the punch here, John.
Yeah, I was dropping off my kid.
Yeah, so Wapo got over on you on that one. So a lot. That's where I saw it this
Wall
morning.
Street Journal, not WAPO.
What?
WAPO.
What am I talking about? Yeah, not Wapo. Yeah, not Washington Post. Wall Street Journal. Excuse me. My bad on that one. But yeah, let's show the Wall Street Journal article right there. Ghost Gun Company. That's what they're calling them. Ghost Gun Company raided by federal agents. ATF suspects Polymer80 of breaking firearms law. A sign that law enforcement is looking closer at makers of DIY kits. We won't go into that too much here, just because obviously, John, you've got an article on this. So let me see if I can pull that up. We'll go into John's article just because that's how we roll around here. But I just want to show you guys that there are other places that you can find it. So here's John's article on AmmolandNews. It says ATF raids Polymer80's office, claiming company is illegally selling guns, which they're not. Polymer80 is a Glock style pistol build, and it comes with a jig. You put it together yourself. It's not a firearm. It's 80%er. So Dayton, Nevada. Federal authorities have raided the offices of Polymer80 for allegedly illegally manufacturing and distributing firearms, failing to pay taxes, shipping firearms across state lines, and failing to conduct background checks. We'll get into this. John, the thing I'm curious about, the taxes part of that, what does that mean?
Okay. When you sell a firearm, there's an excise tax that you have to pay on it. It's like 11%, I believe.
Okay.
I can't remember about the total. But if they were selling non-firearms,
Mm-hmm.
then they wouldn't have to pay that tax. But
Okay.
if it's determined that they were selling firearms, then that's where that tax comes into play.
Okay.
Because
So is Polymer80 an FFL?
I believe that they are an FFL.
Okay. So we'll find out exactly what's going on there. But these are not firearms, right?
Yeah, these are definitely not firearms. Polymer80 actually has a letter from the ATF stating that the firearm in question is not a firearm. What
Mm-hmm.
the ATF is saying is because Polymer80 was packaging their non-firearm with a barrel, a slide, a Glock parts kit, the jig, and the drill bits. That somehow constitutes a firearm because you're giving the customer everything they need to make it into a working firearm.
Okay, so that's the ATF's argument here. Do you think that has any kind of grounds? You think that's actually going to uphold itself in the court of law?
I don't know what the court of law was going to say because I've done this long enough to know that
there's some activist judges that don't they've never heard of the Constitution, Second Amendment, anything like that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, I don't know what the court's going to say, but this is a new interpretation that's never been done before. At least the questions like, if I was to go purchase a 80% frame and added a jig set, like a barrel, Glock parts kit, and a slide, and put it all in the same order, and it got shipped to me all in the same order, would I now be receiving a firearm? Or do I have to do multiple orders?
Yeah, that doesn't. Yeah, that's this is kind of like a nonsensical thing. It's obvious that they're trying something here. So if we could just, first of all, I see there's people saying you haven't been notified, and that's why I'm asking for people to share this if you can. I saw someone, who was it, that said, Sam Wisdom says, only notification I got about you guys going live was from Parler, which I did post on Parler. So that's why I'm asking folks to help. YouTube, there's someone asking if I'm still on YouTube. I've been on YouTube. We post videos here on the main YouTube channel all the time. We also have another channel called Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded, where we do the podcast. We go live Monday to Friday over there. But YouTube is heavily suppressing us, as well as other social media platforms. Same thing with John, right, John? I think you were kicked off of Facebook, and you've been going through all this stuff. So
yeah, I was kicked off Facebook.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is just a situation that's what's going on with folks like us, right? We're out here trying to get people, make people aware of what's going on in places like Georgia, why the Senate runoff, all that kind of stuff is important. So because of the stuff that we're talking about, we're going through that. So help us out, smash the thumbs ups. That'll definitely help, because the algorithm, if there's a lot of people active on here making comments, sharing it, and smashing those thumbs ups, then it's more likely to overcome the gravity of whatever they've encoded in there for us, I guess is the best way for me to explain it. Some people saying they saw the link on Facebook. So if you're just joining us, to go back, Polymer80 in Nevada was raided by the ATF, and because they're saying they're illegally selling firearms, and the reason for that is that they have a kit that you can get not only with the frame for the Polymer80, but all the other things you need to assemble it. Am I right on that, John?
That is exactly right, which is kind of ridiculous. But we knew that Polymer80 and all these other companies were going to be under fire. If you recall, I leaked a meeting that Regina Lombardo and Marvin Richardson, the acting head of the ATF and the acting assistant head of the ATF, had, where they stated that the Biden transition team reached out to them and asked for the top priorities, and the two top priorities was pistol braces and also 80% lowers,
right?
80% frames. If you look, I think this all is being pushed by Brady United. Brady United has been going out after 80% guns, frames, and lower receivers for a while now. They're the ones who came up with the term ghost gun. They're also the ones who came up with the term assault weapon back in the day too.
So and then what's Brady United for folks who may not know?
Brady United was a anti-gun organization started after the Reagan assassination attempt. It used to be called the Brady Organization. Brady Organization for Gun Safety. They've changed the name a lot. Now they're Brady United, and they actually have a lawsuit against Ghost Gunner Inc.
Mm-hmm.
and 12 other companies that sold parts to a guy that put it together and killed a couple people. So all of them in a wrongful death suit out in California.
Mm-hmm.
There's also another lawsuit that California is suing the ATF over 80% lowers, stating that they want the ATF to change their opinion on it. What I think is going to happen with that, unfortunately, is I think the ATF is, the Justice Department is just not going to fight back after Biden comes in and just let California win, which will change the definition of 80% lowers.
Yeah. So, and I think New York has got stuff going on against these. There's a lot of different places. Just for folks out there who aren't aware, right? There may be some people joining us who are not aware of what's the legalities of getting an 80% lower. Can you just fill us in briefly on what that would be? And this is John Crump of AmmolandNews and GOA, by the way, for anyone who doesn't know who's joining us. And John's been doing a lot of stuff on the ATF and what we can look forward to under a Biden administration.
Okay. I just want to answer a question out there. Cody Wilson is not in prison. He is head of Ghost Gunner Inc. and also Defense Distributed again. I talked to him a couple of but okay, 80% lower is not a firearm, so anyone can buy it. I can buy it, you can buy it, and get it shipped right to your house because you have to mail out some stuff, so it can't chamber around. So you have to mail out some stuff. Which is kind of weird that they're using, hey, if you have all the stuff, you got a firearm, which is kind of weird.
Yeah. So you have to, I mean, I don't understand what the precedents would be for that. They're probably trying to establish it here.
I think they're trying to establish it.
Right.
I don't think it is one. I think that they're trying to make this that.
Because you should be able to, let's say I go to, I'm going to pick any random site. Let's say I go to Brownells, PSA, wherever, right? And I order all the different things, and here's a Polymer80 that they do have an approval letter from the ATF for, right?
Yeah, they have an approval letter, so it should be good to go.
Yeah.
It's
so
crazy.
Their problem is with what the ATF is saying here is their problem is specifically with the kit, and I'll try to. So here's a picture of what the kit would look like, and they have a problem because you can buy a kit from one place, which is basically just convenience, but that's not you manufacturing.
Yeah, I mean, if I go to Home Depot and buy some pipes and like a nail and stuff to make like a little zip gun, shotgun, whatnot, am I buying a firearm? Is Home Depot guilty of selling me a firearm?
Yeah, none of that makes sense. And there's still other components outside of what we just showed there, right? There's still other things that you need in order to do it, and individuals have the right to manufacture at home for themselves, right?
Yeah, individuals do have a right to manufacture from home. The tricky part is because we don't know anything right now, right? Because we don't know. This is the first time this has ever happened. So are those people that bought the kit, are those people now in possession of a firearm that they received through the mail?
And
what the ATF going to do? I think the ATF is probably going to go to those people and demand that they turn it over. That's what I think is going to happen.
For anyone who got these kits. And then one of the things, and I know that there was someone mentioning this in the chat, that, you know, the big thing here is when they make these raids, they get documents, right? They get info. They get to see who ordered stuff, who did things get shipped out to, right or wrong.
Yeah, usually they do. I suspect in this situation that's probably the same. But I mean, I can't definitely 100% confirm that. It would just, from everything I see, that's usually what they do.
Yeah. What would you say to folks out there that are worried about that?
That they bought these kits?
Yeah, that they bought these kits and that the ATF now, or the federal government now, has possession of records that could lead to them, and possibly, you know, people could be either sending them letters or showing up on their doorstep. What would you say to those folks?
Just be prepared for that. I don't think they're going to prosecute anyone who bought it, but if they do knock on your door, they might ask you for the stuff. I would just
Say
say
no.
rights. Know your rights.
Yeah.
You know, if you have a warrant, I'm not answering any questions.
Get a lawyer.
I want to have a lawyer. You know, you
Mm-hmm.
can end that conversation at any time. Just say, hey, I don't want to talk to you without a lawyer.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to detain me, you can detain me, but I'm not talking to you without a lawyer. And right then and there, they can't ask you any more questions. You have to know your rights and exert your rights. You know, you have the right to remain silent, and that's one of the rights that people usually don't use for some reason. If you watch like shows like the first 48 hours that deal with you know, like unsolved murders.
Mm-hmm.
Usually they get people to talk to them, and then they get them to spill the beans, basically.
Yeah. They're gonna come in nice, but don't fall for that. You
Yeah.
know, if that happens, just say no. I'm gonna get a lawyer.
Yeah. Any questions they ask you,
Mm-hmm. Walter says keep them outside. By the way, Walter of Safety Harbor
yeah,
Firearms. Good point.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Any
Mm-hmm.
questions they ask you is not to get clarification. If
Mm-hmm.
they're at your door, they pretty much know what all they need to know, and what they're doing is asking you questions to build a case against you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So just follow those few things there. Don't want to spend a ton of time, but if you're worried about it, do not be worried about it. Okay. This is like an intimidation tactic that's taking place in America right now, even before we have a transition. You know, of in the White House or whatever, right? This kind of stuff is going on. As John said, Biden got in touch with the ATF and asked them what was on top of their list. They said 80% lowers, braces, right? So we're gonna see. We saw some stuff with the braces before this. You know, this is maybe the first time that we're seeing like the ATF go out there after someone in regards to the 80% lowers. You know,
Yeah.
Go ahead.
One of the things that I think is that this isn't so much about Polymer80, but it's about them not knowing where these things are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
And
And so other people who are manufacturing 80% lowers have not had this issue, right? You're saying that this is specifically because Polymer80 put out a kit.
what I'm saying is they use the kit as justification.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that they're going to be trying to find other justifications for other dealers
Mm-hmm.
to try to get
Yeah.
the information on who has it. In the end, it's all about the person who has the gun.
Yeah. What we have to do here, and, you know, there's a lot of things that we could say about it, but what we all have to do here is push back. And I just want to make sure I make that point. If you're a person and you're worried about it, you know, do not let them in your house, get a lawyer, all that kind of stuff. Put it out there on social media, you know, what's happening to you. Don't make hoax. Don't waste people's time. But if this is seriously happening to you, if it does happen, you know, let folks know out there so people can start doing something about it. We have to push back on these things. And I would say the same goes for companies, right? When this happens to companies, the companies out there need to push back. Okay, we need to make sure we're getting lawyers and lots of different people going in after this. And just like they're trying to intimidate us, let them know that we're willing to fight it all the way to the Supreme Court. And ultimately, we're not going to comply with anti-Second Amendment laws, especially the ones that the ATF just tries to make up based on their feelings.
Yeah, MPAA, man, MPAA.
Yeah.
Make politicians afraid again. I have that shirt over at Black Swan Tactical.
Yeah, say that again. Make politicians afraid again?
Yeah, I have that shirt over at blackswantactical.com.
Yeah.
You know me. I have to put in a plug for something.
Absolutely, yeah. So there's nothing wrong with that. If for right now, before we go, because before we go on to people's questions, we're not going to go quite yet. Is there other stuff like this on the horizon that we have to look forward to here? Are there going to be other raids and etc.?
Absolutely, I can guarantee that. This is just the first.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be doing this because, like I said, it's not in the end, it's not about the companies. It's
Mm-hmm.
about getting those records. Those
Mm-hmm.
records. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Go
I
ahead.
mean,
No, I'm
all
listening to you.
no, that's all I think it is. It's all about trying to figure out who has what because they
Mm-hmm.
don't want these things to be out in the wild without them knowing who has them, and that's all it is. It's about a system of control.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I think.
Yeah, and intimidation of the folks out there by getting people's, names and addresses and stuff like that. They can intimidate people. As a matter of fact, they can intimidate people into not buying stuff from not just this company but other companies out there. Or not even just buying not even Polymer80, but just buying 80%ers, 80% lowers. They can intimidate you out of that and effectively stop, right, that commerce by doing this kind of stuff. um, I think that even though there hasn't been a transition or anything like that of administrations, there's people who are maybe jockeying for positions right now with this stuff, right?
Exactly. You got to remember the head of the ATF right now is a
Mm-hmm.
bureaucrat.
Mm-hmm.
The assistant head of the ATF is a bureaucrat.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give a big shout out to Record RC out there. He has an awesome RC channel.
Mm-hmm.
I love his RC
Yeah.
channel.
He was over on your live. I was over on the live. Shout out to everyone who was on John Crump's live previously before we jumped to this. Flying Rich was also over there. Safety Harbor Firearms says owning pistol parts is not against the law. You know,
Yeah, Safety Harbor Firearms is exactly correct. That's why I think it's more of an intimidation thing than
mm-hmm.
anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
Yeah.
I mean, they might show up and like demand it, but I don't think they're gonna charge anyone out there because the area is just too gray.
Yeah.
And if they did that, it would be so hard to actually convict you. Well, another thing I think they're gonna do is probably take all these names and run them in a criminal database and see if they get any hits.
Yeah, start looking for matches and maybe start sharing that with local police departments and stuff
Yeah,
like that. So
it's a fishing expedition.
yeah, this is what we've seen. We've seen this in the past. Dale Nicholson says this: they are using the intent clause much the same way prosecuting and raiding people over parts that would make a suppressor, having and pistol upper in the same vicinity of a rifle lower. Yeah, I don't know if you see what he's saying there. So
He's definitely right. We talked about it, and the ATF
mm-hmm.
started after companies that made solvent traps
Mm-hmm.
because their SEO, which is search engine optimization, had the word suppressor
Mm-hmm.
and silencer in their search engine optimization. So they told them, hey, you have intent to sell suppressor parts, therefore you need a Form 1 for anyone who buys it from you,
Mm-hmm.
because they have that in their SEO. They're
Yeah.
also right now, if you're gonna turn a solvent trap into a suppressor, it just behooves you to get your Form 1 first, or just say, hey, I got a crappy solvent trap, I'm just gonna do it, because
Mm-hmm.
If you say, hey, I bought these parts and I plan on Form 1ing it, then they're going to say you have intent, therefore
Mm-hmm.
they're parts.
Yeah. Don't answer questions.
Don't
Don't cooperate with the popo. It's as simple as that.
If you have a solvent trap and you think that you want to Form 1 it, don't tell people you're going to Form 1 it until you Form 1 it and you get the Form 1 back.
Yeah. It's funny. This whole thing is funny because I just interviewed a retired ATF agent who and I asked him, right? I asked him, who does the ATF go after? Do they go after gun guys? Do they go after people like us who are, we're into guns or manufacturing guns or whatever? And he said no. This is what he said. And there was a little bit of pushback on that because, that's not what we're seeing. And I think in his, what he was saying is that's a lot of the people who are actually running the agencies versus the guys like himself that are on the ground guys doing investigations and trying to find like actual bad guys out there. The truth of the matter now, it's a mostly political agency of what's going on, right?
It's an absolutely political agency.
Yeah.
It's all politics. They're not about,
Hmm.
the law, whatever. They're about politics. They're about, that next step in their career.
Yeah. Do you so now I know that you've got a lot of stuff going on. You have a lot of FOIA requests, things are coming in, but we have to be careful on probably, on what we say here, what we put out there, whether or not you've got stories published. Do you have knowledge of other possible raids or companies that the ATF is looking at?
You know the answer to that, Hank.
What's the answer?
The answer is yes, I do.
Okay, you
I
do.
have direct knowledge. I have leaked information of several companies. I'm keeping that really close to the chest because
Hmm.
I notified the companies, and
Hmm.
they're taking precautions right now.
Hmm.
Uh, But I don't want to say too much. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the,
So
the,
there's more of this out there. That's what I want people to know. There's more of this out there. Rob
yeah,
Pincus is in the chat. Shout out to Pincus. Uh, Listen, he says just posted a video covering some of the issues, including the irrelevant differences, the traditional build kits, and the buy, build, shoot kits. So
yeah.
he's
It's crazy, right?
yeah.
I don't know what the ATF is up to. I mean,
Hmm.
like I said, if I bought all the parts separately and put them in the same cart on a website, will I be guilty of buying a firearm in the ATF fives
Yeah.
because I bought them all in one order from one place?
Yeah, if we allow them to do this, they will do it. This is the same question I think that came up on the issue of the bump stocks. If you allow them to get away with things, and if there's not serious pushback, and if the courts don't, if the judges out there don't have our backs, and then even when it comes up to the Supreme Court, they either slow it down or refuse to see any of those cases, it gives license to agencies like the ATF to do stuff like this. And ultimately, what they need from us is severe pushback on what they're trying to do until they realize, like, hey, this is not your mandate. This is not what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, look what the courts did with the Virginia universal background check case.
Hmm.
Uh, that was ridiculous. GOA sued over universal background checks. A judge said that since Virginia law says you're allowed to own a pistol at 18, um, that that 18 to 20-year-olds are
Hmm.
exempt from universal background checks,
Hmm.
but 21 and over still has to go through them. So it went to the Virginia Supreme Court, and the
Hmm.
Virginia Supreme Court said, "We're not going to decide on it. We're just not going to. We're just not going to decide on it." So
Hmm.
basically, right now, if you're in Virginia, if you're 18 to 20, you're exempt from universal background checks, but if you're over 20, you're not, which is totally ridiculous.
Hmm.
But because the courts refuse to decide on it, it's just, and we see that everywhere. I mean, what
Yeah.
the courts do and what they actually do are two different things, and they have a tendency not to go against the legislatures.
Hmm. Yeah. I just want to make it clear to folks that are out there. I know we have a lot of people who are joining us. Smash the thumbs ups. That's all I'm asking you to do here. Help us to overcome the nonsense that's going on with YouTube, and a lot of other social media platforms, by the way, that are doing this stuff. If you guys really want to find us on some freer platforms, we're both on we're both on Parler as well as other places if you look for it. For anyone who's worried about this news as it's coming out, you have the right to own and possess 80% lowers. You have that. And
Yeah.
as John said earlier in this video, if you guys go back, the ATF issued a determination letter on this. It's in your article, John, on AmmolandNews, and I'll
Yeah,
go to the screen and show it. Go ahead.
yeah. It's to prosecute this is going to be very hard for the ATF.
Hmm.
That's why
Yeah.
I don't think people out there really have to worry about it because they did issue a determination letter. Like I
Hmm.
said, I think this is all about getting the customer records.
Yeah.
That's
This
just my
is
opinion. I could be wrong.
Well, because the thing about it is once they do all of this, even if they get spanked on the hand for it, right? They
They
already
still,
have that data.
yeah, exactly. And so they don't care,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
Whatever.
Yeah, and once a new administration clocks in, and definitely has this set as an agenda with the braces and the 80% lowers. They've got info. They've got things that they can do. They can start looking at people. They can start communicating with state and local police departments and stuff like that and saying, oh, here's our list of people. Cross-check that with the people that you're looking at. This is how this stuff works. We've seen it over and over again.
Yeah, the two things. I think they're going to look on the list for people who have criminal records, who are prohibited persons, and also when the Biden comes in, I think the Justice Department is just going to drop the case against they're going to not defend themselves against the California case, and then 80% lawyers are going to be banned.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully that doesn't happen, but with the California case coming out, it looks probable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. I think the main reason, the short-term goal is to get the customer records to run them against the NCIC system, which is system that Nix calls on.
Mm-hmm.
So they look for people with criminal records who bought this stuff.
Yeah. Will A says, didn't your retired ATF guests say the other day they only go after groups, gangs, criminal vermin who are up to no good? That's what he said. And, for his time there, that I'm putting that in quotes, in air quotes, may have been true. But he himself, if you really look into Vincent Cefalu, you'll find he wound up leaving the ATF because he was complaining about what the top brass was doing, right? There were a lot of things going on there. And basically, for several years, he was getting paid a salary to stay home by the ATF because he was pushing back against them and he was under whistleblower status and all that kind of stuff. He played a part in the gun runner things going on, Operation Fast and Furious coming to light. He played a part in that because other agents within the agency brought that to him. So I think basically in his time while he was home getting paid by the ATF and us, the taxpayers, he built a site for agents to complain and expose stuff the ATF was doing, and that's how a lot of this Operation Fast and Furious stuff came to light. So I think he gets the fact that there's, the higher ups at the agency, the political appointees are doing stuff. One of the problems is under Trump, they really didn't do anything with the ATF. They just didn't really make any serious attempts to clean up the ATF or get rid of these rogue top brass guys that are doing all this nonsense. So here we are now. This is being weaponized, and we're seeing this. This is why it's really, really important to vote, okay, and to pay attention to what's going on in politics. I'm not saying there's other things that are important, like knowing how to defend yourself. Ultimately, I believe you don't have anything that you can't defend, right? So whatever you think you have, you can't defend it. If you cannot defend it, you do not have it. So we can get into that discussion, but you have to pay attention to what these politicians are doing. And this is how they go about stuff on a federal level as well as state and local levels. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This is just another example of why Georgia is so important.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. So what would you... Donovan Chilton says that this is still Trump's ATF. Not once Biden made that call. Do you think so?
I do, because you got to remember, Regina Lombardo and Marvin Richardson are on waivers. They have already passed the mandatory retirement time, but they after a certain amount of years you get to retire, and they're on waivers. Trump could get rid of them by just revoking their waivers, and they can be gone. And the other people in the ATF, he can Schedule F them, which means he can fire them from that point.
Right.
I don't see him doing any of that, though, which is sad. I hope he does.
I think he should. I think he should. I think it would serve to at least slow a lot of this down and make it difficult for them to do this and because you've been spending time and we've been trying to talk to people in the industry and folks out there and let people know, like, hey, you need to get ready for this particular fight. It's coming to us whether you like it or not, right? So it would go a long way to help that.
Yeah, it would go a long way to help that, to slow it down. There's some other executive actions that he can take to do stuff. Like I think you can actually. I'm not sure how legal this would be, but use executive action to do a machine gun amnesty. So anybody who has a machine gun within the next like year could register it. You know, without having.
Yeah. Okay. Then now we're dreaming.
Yeah, but I don't see that happening. I'm just saying there's
Yeah.
stuff that he can do that he probably won't do.
Yeah.
But if we lose both seats in Georgia, we being the pro-gun side, if we lose both of those seats, and Kelly and David Perdue don't get in there, Kelly Loeffler, Locke or whatever, and David Perdue
Loeffler.
don't. Loeffler, I don't know, I can't say that. But if they don't get reelected, then we are in serious trouble, because what I think is going to happen is, I think that Chuck Schumer is going to get rid of the legislative filibuster, which will allow them to push through any gun laws that they want, because they would no longer need a supermajority to get into the Senate, because the Senate is really our firewall when it comes to bad laws. And by removing the legislative filibuster, they would get rid of that firewall. And then the next thing they would do is expand the Supreme Court by so-called court packing. And pack the Supreme Court with anti-gun people. So even if we do appeal it, the Supreme Court will probably finally take gun cases, but not for the good.
Yeah. This is the kind of stuff we have to look forward to. Okay, so just for the people who are out there watching us and they want to know, okay, so this is the news. They raided these offices. They got this. They probably got the actual materials that were still there that were not sent out to people, and records and all that kind of stuff. Go ahead.
I don't know if they got the actual materials, because according to the complaint, they were only complete guns when they were assembled into a kit. So if they didn't, it depends. If they stored them, if they didn't store them like that, then they probably didn't take anything besides records.
Right. Okay. So we're going to find out more about this. What should people out there, what can they do right now, right? I think one of the things when we have these conversations and we're talking about breaking news like this that everyone gets concerned about, and even when I'm looking at other folks talking about it, I always want to know, like, what can we do right now? What is it that I could do that I'm fired up and frustrated and aggravated with what's going on? What can I do about it?
Blow up your reps' phones. Blow up their emails, your Congress members, your Senate members. Call the White House switchboard and complain about this. The thing is, we don't get anything done like the people on the anti-gun side, because we tend to be more non-hive-mindish. We don't complain as much as they do.
Right.
I think it's time that we fight fire with fire. We use their own tactics, and we start being the squeaky wheel.
Yes, this is the reason why they're going after us on social media platforms. This is our ability to do stuff like this, to go live, talk to folks out there, and to post things and let people know what to do about things. That scares the hell out of them. So, I think it is an effective tool that we have, and we have to make sure that we continue to have, no matter what these guys do, right? So we need to make that noise. We need to talk to people, make sure that the folks out there, at least the ones on our side, are reminded that this is an important thing. We care about it. We want pushback on this. And there are things that they can do. There's stuff that the White House can do, that Trump could do. There's things that our congressmen, our senators that are out there now and say that they're for the Constitution and they're for the Second Amendment, they can do stuff right now, right? And some of them have been doing things, saying like, what the hell's going on with the ATF? Why are they making up their own law? Why are they doing all of these things? So I don't want to make you guys think that there aren't people in terms of politics that are on our side. There are. We need to make sure that we talk to them, support them, and then, in my opinion, we need to make sure we're supporting all the different groups that are pushing back, right?
Like Rand Paul is big into pushing back against them. Even Ted Cruz, Gates from Florida, is very big on pushing back against the ATF.
Yeah. So, I think.
Wait. What's
up?
Who the hell is Jim Jungle?
Yeah, Yeah.
Jim Jungle, whoever that is, knows where I lived at when I was like 3 years old.
Right. Okay. So I'm not gonna put that up there. I don't want to.
No, I don't live there. I haven't lived there since I was for the last like 41 years.
Oh, okay.
But
So I could throw that up on the screen.
yeah,
Okay. So that's someone that probably knows you from high school. Listen.
no, like this is like before elementary school.
Oh wow. Okay. The thing I would say, the thing I would say to folks out there, there's lots of other organizations other than the NRA. I think, NRA has had problems and they are trying to do some things right now, but they've been hobbled by a lot of things going on. So I personally believe that you have to have multiple organizations that are out there fighting for the Second Amendment, all of them in their own way, right? People filing suits, pushing back in different places, working to make people aware of what's going on. So pick it. GOA, FPC, right? Second Amendment Foundation. Pick your organization that you believe in, and don't only send them money, like check up on them, see what they're doing. When they send you stuff to notify you that this thing is going on, do something about it. Pay attention to what's happening in your state, because I think a lot of this that's going to happen, we could block it on state levels. So I'm in Florida. If Florida says hell no to this, it's going to be very tough. Other states will get on board and say, no, we're not dealing with this, right? These are the kinds of things that I think we have to look forward to. John, what do you want to say about that?
No, I'm just blown away that someone knew me from whenever I lived for like 40 years ago.
Right.
But yeah, we have to. We have to start pushing back. We have to talk. It has to start locally. Mm-hmm. You can join your national group like GOA. If you go to like gunowners.org/black-swan-media, you can get 25% off there, or join FPC. But we also have to join our local groups too. Like in my state of Virginia, it's VCDL. Mm-hmm. Maybe it's CCDL, Connecticut Citizens Defense League, or AZDL, Arizona Citizens Defense League, or Bama Carry, or Florida Carry. But we have to join the local groups, because they're the ones who are in the grass fighting. They're the true grassroots. The national groups are great, and I'm a member of a national group, and I actually work for a national group. Mm-hmm. The national groups are great at the national level. They're good at the local level too, especially like GOA Texas or GOA Pennsylvania. But the local groups are very good locally. Like my staff from Virginia consists of me and a few people from GOA, where you have this huge organization of VCDL that does a lot of good work, and they're actually backed up by GOA. So GOA and VCDL works great together. So you join your local group and national group.
Yeah, and one other thing I want to say to folks out there before we wrap this up. There's a lot of things that these guys are going to hit us with. The most effective way is going after the money, and there's a if you're familiar with cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, John and I are familiar with one called TUSC, which is something designed for the firearms industry to help us to be able to buy and sell things to each other. And I think people need to find out about this and investigate it, learn about it, figure out how to use it, because this is how they're going to cut us off. And I'll just show you guys the page. If you just Google TUSC Cryptocurrency,
TUSC.network.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's TUSC.network. And they have all the information you need to figure out how to create an account, to buy the TUSC coin and all that kind of stuff. John actually has an article that he did before in AmmolandNews. You just recently did an article with them, right?
Yeah, I recently did the article. I do know through my connections, I hooked up the TUSC guys with a few other like an ammo manufacturer and stuff like that. So a number of people that are going to be accepting TUSC is going to be a lot more. In fact, I'm buying some body armor using TUSC.
Yes. So It's something that the community needs to start thinking about, right? You need to start thinking about how are we going to buy and sell things. Like, for example, PayPal's banned me for life because I'm a gun guy. Did the same thing to Lola for life, okay? Because we're gun people. We didn't buy any guns or anything like that, you know. So this is the thing that is going to happen. It's I think they had something previously called Operation Choke Point, where they try to go after, and we've seen it happen to companies that are out there selling stuff online. And I just think this is important and relative based on the ATF trying to go in here and get these records.
I believe Operation Choke Point is going to come back with a vengeance. If you don't know, Operation Choke Point is where they tried to pressure banks to stop doing work with the gun industry. They also made credit cards put a higher rate on gun purchases. Basically, they tried to lump guns in with porn because porn have a lot of chargebacks and a lot of fraud, where the gun industry actually has a lower rate of fraud than than all industries combined. If you look at the average fraud rate in different industries, the gun industry is half of what the average is. But for some reason, the Obama administration, through Operation Choke Point, regulated guns the same as porn, which has a much higher fraud rate than other industries.
Yeah, it's a horrible thing. So I'm just trying to use this opportunity to let you guys know about that. John has a podcast on it. So do I. John has some snippets up. I'm going to try to get snippets up and have these guys come in. But I literally have 2 hours talking to the founder of TUSC and a guy that manufactures suppressors that accepts cryptocurrency on his website for buying suppressors. So it's a good conversation.
I bought a suppressor from that guy using cryptocurrency.
Awesome. Yes. So think about this, guys. We have to fight on all fronts. That's the thing that I want to say before we get out of here. We have to fight these things on all fronts until we come down to the final frontier, right? The last front. Before we get there, we need to fight on every single front so that we have, if you want to have any kind of chance of maintaining the life that we're all living right now. John, what do you want to say before we get out?
Just everyone, we need to make politicians afraid again. I'm not talking about through violence. I'm talking about like, hey, if you violate our gun rights, we are going to vote you out. So I don't want anybody to twist my words and all of a sudden I get red flagged.
Yeah, absolutely. Don't be apathetic to this stuff. Nothing's over. If we're here, if we're breathing, then we continue to fight. That's the way it works. It doesn't matter who's in the White House, who's in Congress, Senate, or whatever. We always continue to fight if we're alive. That's how this works, right? You can't have things you can't defend. Go ahead. Sorry.
The suppressor company is Rex Silentium. I think that's how you say
Rex. I think it's Rex Silentium or something like that. Something along those lines.
If you Google anything, it'll come up.
Yeah. Meathead Jose says, I would just tell them I lost mine in a boating accident. That's what that retired ATF agent told me. And I laughed at him. I was like, dude, you worked for the ATF and you're going to say you lost it in a boating accident. That's a funny joke or meme or whatever, but that's not how we're going to do this. We're just going to tell these people that we're not going to comply with anything that goes against the Second Amendment.
Yeah. Kevin Dixie sells a shirt that says, no, it's not Kevin Dixie. It's Argo J. He sells a shirt that says, I was talking to both of them. That's why I got them confused. He sells a shirt that says, I lost all my guns in a voting accident.
In a voting. That's funny.
Or I lost all my voting accident.
Yeah.
And I like what Maj Torre says. He said, I see a lot of people using the voting accident thing. He goes, guess what? Before the election, I have 10 ARs. After the election, I'm still going to have 10 ARs.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so listen, if anyone wants to communicate with you, how can they do that, John?
You can, Crumpy.com is my website. CRUMPY.com is what I post all my links and everything like that. I have a YouTube channel. Go subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do want to plug on the 19th. I have a Christmas special, and we're going to be giving away a lot of really cool stuff, like a $100 gift certificate to Uncle Sam's Misguided Children, $50 gift certificate to Black Swan Media Group, patches, books, one of those speed loader things, Podovich or whatever you say their name.
Okay.
They donated that, and we also will be giving away a Mantis X 10 Elite,
Oh,
which
very
is
cool.
really cool tool. Go to John Crump 2. You have to be subscribed and you have to comment to win any of the stuff. But it's going to be a fun time.
Yeah.
John Crump 2, I got a bunch of guests lined up for next week. It's going to be really cool. And if you're in Virginia, I'm launching a new podcast that's going to be coming out soon called Virginia Reloaded, and that is a GOA sponsored podcast, and GOA is producing it and everything else like that. And my co-host on that is Gorilla and Guns.
Oh, very nice. Yes, actually, I knew about that. Yes, shout out to Gorillas and Guns. American Gun Chick is out there, and she says if you think it's time to start burying your guns, it's actually time to start digging them up.
Exactly. And also, there's something very, very near and dear to my heart. Actually, two things. One that's actually near and dear to my heart is if you go to crumpy.com/Mando, we're auctioning off a bullpup rifle, custom-made Mandalorian bullpup rifle. All proceeds go to help my niece who has brain cancer, and there's a lot of expenses. So all proceeds go to that. Plus all proceeds of anything you buy at blackswantactical.com. 100% of the proceeds of anything on that website goes to my niece. And the most important thing everyone out there can do is go to thegundies.com, go to the most influential male of the year, and vote for me, and then go to crossover creator of the year and vote for me.
Okay. Right, there you go. All right, listen, I want to thank everyone so much for joining us. If you want to help us out, when this comes off live, go comment on the video. It's going to continue on YouTube. Smash the thumbs ups there. Share it if you can. We appreciate all that kind of stuff. Help get the message out there. We appreciate you guys, and we will talk about this on the podcast, which is on YouTube/Lifestyles of the Locked and Loaded. We'll get into that a little bit later here. Big thanks to John Crump of AmmolandNews. What's up?
And go watch my video that I did on this earlier on today at John Crump 2.
Absolutely. All right, guys, we'll see you. Thanks so much. We're out of here. Peace.